talking to himself a little bit. It's pretty high pressure. I mean, even though you've won the whole trip to the World Championship thing, there's nothing that's quite more of a high-pressure situation than the actual final match. And he opens up with 3 face-down Speller Traps and a set monster.
It's either a strong setup or a strong bluff, but imposing regardless of which of those 2 possibilities is true. Plays a Branded Bird. Put some pressure on Bird to get disrupting Hill's setup early.
He starts with Artifact Ignition.
Straight into Gear.
Was unable to see what card he targeted with it. It looked like it might have been the center one in Gear was chained. No, it was the Gear, which is absolutely brutal.
Big opening lead for Clayton Hill. And Bird sets Artifact Moraltalk from his deck.
Now, if he's got a double Cyclone, this might not be as bad as it seems.
Yeah.
He could set the Cyclone and use it on Hill's turn to blow away one of those Geargianos. And if Bird has got a hand or something to attack over one of the Geargianos, he could get most of Hill's cards off the board before Hill even has a chance to do anything for his turn. But that seems to not be the case. 5 face-down cards.
I think you might want to let him Ixies up first and then just take him on a 2-for-1, right?
I don't know if he can because of Geargigan's replacement ability.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a way to form the chain here.
Didn't pop it early, so...
Well, he can wait for the Gigant to activate its effect.
There we go. Now he's going for the Geargia.
We've got double Cyclone. Targeting Wiretap.
Nice, strong
and Artifact Moraltalk. Moraltalk will be special summoned, and now Hill is trying to change... No. Okay, it looked like he was trying to change the position of his monster, which wouldn't help. And Moraltalk is summoned. Geargigan X is destroyed, and it is replaced by Geargiano, one of its materials. But that does put a big hamper in Hill's plans, even if he does have a face-down Geargia armor here, since he doesn't have a level 4 to bring back with Geargiano quite yet.
But he does have the Geargia armor. That was not a bluffed opening.
Fiendish Chain seeks to lock it down, though.
Yeah, Clayton Hill matching him move for move.
He would have had some strong plays still if that armor had went through, but he has the accelerator. He would have searched off of it anyways.
Gonna go for another Gigant.
A lot of avenues open up here.
Yeah. But still two face downs.
Could see a Sanctum.
On the Bird side of the field.
In fact, there's a Sanctum.
There we go.
Sanctum is special summoned. It doesn't target, but Geargigan X will be the card destroyed. And with that,
if he can make it out of this turn with those 2 Moraltalks on the field. Ah, and a Mark II.
Good. Mark II comes back off of the second Geargigan's ability. But now he can't match up. No, he can match up. He's going with Geargia armor and a rank 3. Soul of Silver Mountain can lock down that last Speller Trap card for as long as it's face up on the field.
That's smart if it sticks. And it sticks. No chain. No response. Nothing.
It sticks, but unless he gets rid of one of those Moraltalks, Constellar Pleiades is probably coming out next turn.
Soul Charge will get it done.
Soul Charge. Soul Charge will get it done if he has enough ways to get level 4s, which he does. There are a number of choices here. He could use Silent Honor Arc, since both of those Moraltalks are in attack position.
No hesitation from Hill or Bird here as they match each other step for step. Hill clearly knew all of his options after that long moment of contemplation we saw earlier before he committed his cards.
He goes for the third Geargigant, though. That's an interesting choice because it doesn't yet remove anything else.
Yeah.
He's probably going to go and fetch another Geargia Accelerator now, and then I assume we'd see the Geargiano swap out for another level 4. so that he can go for one of his options to get rid of one of those Moral Talks. In this case, he's just trying to build the biggest field possible to avoid a potential swing back. Geargiano traded out for Geargia Accelerator. Another Accelerator joins it, and now we see Silent Honor Arc.
And there's the answer.
Silent Honor Arc picks up one of the Moral Talks, but he's left his Arc in attack position. We'll see if Brandon Bird can do something with that. Brief confusion on Fiendish Chain. I believe the Geargia armor was used for an Xyz summon, was it not? The Geargia armor it was initially played on?
Yeah, now it's back. There we go.
And as a result, Fiendish Chain sticks around, doesn't do anything. Which does make it a target for another double Cyclone, if he were to have it and not another artifact.
Makes it slightly easier to play Ice Hand.
First things first, though, Brandon Bird attacks over the Soul of Silver Mountain with his remaining Moral Talk, and that will free up his face-down card. Doing a quick math
Die
break,
still
it
marking
seems.
the face-down set.
No, the Soul of Silver Mountain's not there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
The second face-down card joins it. And Brandon Bird is finished with his turn. Now he's noticed, and Geargia X has been activated again. At this point, I believe he's played 2 out of the 3 accelerators. He's got plenty of arsenals in his deck, and he's got another Geargiano Mark II. That'll get him a special summon from the graveyard. But first, he'll play Upstart Goblin. Smart move, of course. Searching for a card first and then using Upstart Goblin, because that way you ensure that you don't draw the card that you would have searched off of it. Instead, you get something else and the card you wanted. Geargiano Mark II summons its compatriot, and the two are combined to summon Wind Up Zen Mines. The Gigant takes out the remaining Moral Talk, and direct attacks from Arc and presumably Zen Mines follow.
Hill's really done an admirable job of nullifying not just one string of pushes, but really 2 after the double Moral Talk play. Stabilizing last turn and really leveraging it into aggression this turn.
Call of the Haunted seeks to put a stop to things by taking the remaining material off of Silent Honor Arc, and that forces it to trade evenly with the special summon Moral Talk instead of just sticking around. Wind Up Zen Mines still attacks directly, though.
Yeah. There are penalties for pretty much all of what Clayton Hill's doing. I mean, he clearly smelled that destruction effect, and he's consolidating only into cards that can protect themselves or at least punish Bird in the process.
Bird simply passes his turn, and Hill's back on the offensive with Geargia X and Wind Up Zen Mines. He can afford to take the hits early here, because there aren't any Geargia monsters on the field for Hill to summon more accelerators and potentially blow him out of the game. Remember, Geargia X is not a Geargia monster. Bird sets a monster.
Wow.
Clayton Hill has mind control. With no answer to it there, that'll be enough to finish off the first game.
And Bird knows it. Immediate concession.
Yep.
Mind
Smart
Control,
move.
just a killer card for the Geargia deck.
Absolutely brutal. Smart move, though, by Bird, not actually revealing what his other face-down card was.
Mm-hmm.
We saw earlier in the Jeff Jones match that his opponent did reveal it afterwards, but that was at the end of the match.
Yeah. Once you're out of the tournament, you can give away all the information you want. You no longer need it.
Personally, I would never give them the information, because whenever somebody's like, oh yeah, no, I know what you had, show me to show that I'm right, I'm like, no. Not a chance.
Reaffirm my assumptions and self-worth.
Okay, Sherlock. I'll make you think forever about it. Moving into game 2. Let's see. Brandon Bird has got a pair of Noblemen of Crossout, which is always popular. He's got Acid Trap Hole, also a popular pick. Xyz Universe, another popular. He's siding really heavily for Geargia.
Yeah.
And 2 Malevolent Catastrophe, which can also be used to get through the massive back rows of a Geargia Duelist.
Yep.
In addition to triggering a whole bunch of artifact monster plays.
Clayton Hill, maybe not quite as well prepared on a purposeful basis, but still with a ton of cards he can be using for this matchup. Max C, if he doesn't decide to bring in his Dimensional Fissure or his Macrocosmos, which I imagine he probably will.
Yeah, the Cosmos seems like a good call.
Yeah.
Soul Drain.
How many Soul Charges? Only 1 Soul Charge in Bird's deck, so that's not really much of a concern. Soul Drain is good. 3 Noblemen of Crossout, since he will be going first. Oh no, Clayton just won. He will not be going first. Those will probably not come in until at least game 3, if ever. Nope. Triple Rivalry of Warlords, which is super, super hot in this matchup.
The tricky thing for Rivalry is going to be resolving it when the opponent has all those Ignitions and Double Cyclones.
But you have to imagine he's going to bring them in.
Yep. No point in not trying.
I mean, I think he's going to bring in Triple Rivalry, Dimensional Fissure, Macrocosmos at the least. And just be like, here's 5 continuous cards. You can't get rid of them all.
I'm thinking Crossout, Dark Hole. Probably 1 each of the Acid Trap Hole and Xyz Universe here. Might not want to bring in the second, depending on whether or not you're going first. Xyz Universe seems better if you're going second, because your opponent will be the first one to make a power play with his Xyz summons.
I think he'll bring in both the Acid Trap Holes.
Both Acid Trap Holes?
Yeah,
yeah, that's right. He's going first, so he wants to cut off the Geargia armor.
Yeah. And it's so good, denying your opponent the ability to search with Geargia armor off that card.
It's possibly 2 Acid, no Xyz Universe.
Even when you're not searching it for free, which Brandon Bird probably will be doing.
And speaking of searching things for free, he started off the second duel with Traptrix Myrmileo, and that's going to get him a free Trap Hole out of his deck. He's got a pair of Traptrix Trap Hole Nightmare, in addition to the bottomless Trap Hole. And if he sided in Acid Trap Hole,
there's the Acid Trap Hole. Yep.
He's able to pull it straight out of his deck and immediately force Clayton Hill to change his game plan going into this.
Yeah, that is a huge influencer that Hill's going to have to play around.
Quickly reading it, the tricky thing with Acid Trap Hole is that it can stop you from using your Geargia armor's effect, since it is optional.
Yes. You can flip it up, and you get to see it, but you don't get to search your deck.
Nope.
You just get to see it go into the graveyard.
And that Myrmileo is backed up by 5 face-down cards, one of which is, of course, the Acid Trap Hole. Upstart Goblin starts things off for Clayton Hill, putting Brandon Bird up to 9,000 life points. And he has some work ahead of him.
Yeah. This is an even worse uphill fight against a massive back row. Yeah, and that's the answer to it.
Pretty clearly phased a bit and dropped his cards a bit, giving the ability to possibly see what one of them was.
Nerves might be kicking in at this point.
Bird's going to go ahead and get some free damage in with Myrmileo.
Yep.
I thought, personally, that I had seen a compulsory evacuation device down there in that brief moment that the cards were shown. And if Bird saw that too, then he knows that basically nothing can go wrong.
And he knows to
with
keep
Myrmileo.
Poking with the Myrmileo. Yeah, exactly.
Just keep
No
attacking until they
Xyz,
stop.
thank you very much.
Face down card from Hill. He knows the Acid Trap Hole's there, so that could just be something like Geargia Arsenal. Fortunately for Hill, he's got the wiretap.
Does Bird
does
have
Brandon
one?
Bird
Bird does
have
not
the
have
answer?
one.
He does not.
But one can't help but not ignore that wiretap, that Acid Trap Hole was free. So always nice to trade free cards against cards your opponent actually had to draw from their deck with their normal draw.
The Acid Trap Hole may be free, but so is everything that Geargia armor, assuming that it
search it if it is a Geargia armor,
is going to get.
And again, Hill is playing pure Geargia. There are no hands in his deck. So the odds of that being a Geargia armor after he fought to keep it there, exceedingly high.
Now what he could do here is wait for a Geargigan X summon and then spring a Traptrix Trap Hole Nightmare on it.
Yeah.
Geargia armor is flip face up. and is met with no immediate answer from Bird. Geargia accelerators, the choice from the deck. And as soon as it's added, Double Cyclone is flipped, targeting Artifact Moraltak and Light Imprisoning Mirror. That's an incredible card to hit. The Light Imprisoning Mirror would have stopped Moraltak cold in its tracks, but Clayton Hill has the Book of Moon to put his Geargia armor back face down and protect it, at least for the moment, from Moraltak.
Not as great of an answer as just having that Light Imprisoning Mirror survive would have been, but still pretty good answer.
A second Geargia armor joins the field, and that gives him the Geargia name that he needs to special summon a pair of Geargia accelerators.
Hill looking to make up a lot of cards really fast, and he has the luxury of taking that risk because he's up a game.
They link up to form Geargia X.
Loses the Geargia to Black Horn of Heaven.
Or they would have, if it weren't for Black Horn of Heaven. Geargia armor's back face down. Bird is up next. He tributes his Myrmidon for Artifact Moraltak. The intent here is to clear both Geargia armors out.
Forces the Fiendish Chain, which is always nice to see on not your imminent Ixie summon. Does knock out one of the Geargia armors.
One Geargia armor will be left. One search to Hill for the one being destroyed and flipped up.
Bird's got to be wondering what that last back row card is, and if a rank 5 Ixie summon would be safe here.
Hill does have one Black Horn of Heaven in there somewhere, but he could also have Compulsory Evacuation Device, which is what I thought I saw there in that flash. Bird's going to go ahead and bring out
Extrapole Nightmare, too. There's at least 4 answers there. Oh, it's a Torrential.
It's Torrential Tribute, another trap card with a lot of blue in the art.
Huh.
Very interesting. I think he's going to save his Pleiades, or at least send it back to the extra deck.
Yep.
Smart move, because he may in fact have 2 level 5s again at some point in this duel.
Yep.
And if he does, he's going to need it. Interesting note, Bird is also running Consular Ptolemy M7, just in case he needs to upgrade his Pleiades after it's run out of materials.
Call the Hunt to bring back that Myrmidon.
Oh, that's enough for Hill.
Wow.
He doesn't even wait to see if Bird has a follow-up play. He just doesn't want to lose that last face-down card to the effective Myrmidon.
Again, really protecting information here.
Very interesting. I wonder what that card was.
That was maybe yeah. Like, what would he want to protect that much? That was interesting.
It's got to be a side deck card.
Clearly no lack of confidence for Hill. Maybe he's protecting the rivalry?
Maybe.
I don't know.
That would be a good thing for your opponent to not know you've got.
Yeah.
Going into the final game of the Dragon Duel World Championship qualifier.
That was a gambit. I'm fascinated to see if it'll pay off.
Interesting, we haven't seen Diania yet. Plenty of Myrmidon.
I know there's like 3 copies of them in there. We have not seen them.
Have not seen it.
Wonder if maybe they were sided out.
That is not a bad plan, especially if you're going second here and you want to open with as many live cards as possible.
Yep.
Diania is great, but not on the first turn, and not when your opponent has dug in, and not when you don't already have Myrmidon in the graveyard.
Diania is a turn 4 desperation play, not so hot. I wasn't able to see there if Brandon, either Bird or Hill, did additional side decking.
It didn't look
like they did. So I'm wondering about the status of Nobleman of Crosset on each of their sides right now.
Well, we're about to find out here as Clayton Hill has tributed Geargia Arsenal to summon Geargia Armor.
Yeah.
And we'll see what he thinks the answer is based on whether or not he leaves that Geargia Armor face up.
Face up or face down, yeah.
Hill sets five cards
looks
face
like he's
down.
leaving it. He's leaving it face up.
And says, I don't think you have it,
I don't
Brandon
think you
Bird.
have it.
There's that Myrmilio again, this time being locked down by Fiendish Chain. And it looks like Hill was correct.
No Nobleman.
Bird does not have the Nobleman. Not yet.
Does he have an Acid
face-down
Trapple?
cards.
He does not have an Acid Trapple.
He would have if Fiendish Chain hadn't locked down the
Yeah.
Myrmilio.
Yeah.
Geargia Armor is flipped face up, and Geargia Arsenal is added to Clayton Hill's hand. It looks like he wants to build a gigantic wall around his life points. But it's also worth noting that the Arsenal's attack points will boost up to 1900 as long as he has the armor in play. Geargia Arsenal is summoned. And it successfully attacks and destroys Myrmilio with those free 200 attack points.
Wow, and that gives him a lot of information about Bird's back row.
Especially that it's not very good.
Yeah, essentially. Or that it's very good against Ixie summons that aren't happening yet.
The armor goes back face down, and Geargia Arsenal is tributed
For another one.
another one.
And that could be a really big next turn.
What's even more vicious is that he can actually leave that one face up and have one face down and protect himself from all of Bird's outs. Except Artifact Sanctum. End phase Artifact Sanctum would be pretty good against this field.
Yeah. I don't know. I think leaving that face up at this point is begging to be attacked. Yeah, he's going to put it down.
Putting it face down, not risking the Sanctum.
He knows if he's at least going to be attacked. He wants to play out the Sanctum, outplay the Sanctum, and ensure that if he gets attacked, he's at least getting a card off of it.
Call of the Hunted brings back Myrmilio, and in a strange fit of irony, Clayton Hill attempts to use Traptrix Trap-Hole Nightmare against her, which does not work because Traptrix are immune to normal Trap-Hole cards. Fiendish Chain, he's got another one, though, and this time it's getting wiretapped. You know, the interesting thing, why they are immune to trap holes, is because the creatures they're based on are traps and build traps themselves. They don't get trapped. Myrmilio is based on the Myrmilion, or the Antlion, and the reason that it appears as a child mixed with an insect is because it's the larval form of the Antlion that builds all the trap holes, not the adult, which looks more like a flying thing, not like that. Macrocosmos goes to the graveyard as a result of Myrmilio's effect, and plays back to Bird, who now has 2 Geargia armors, but only 3 face-down speller traps to deal with.
So with your perspective on the Traptrix monsters, would you describe them as they bees in the trap?
No. Dark Holes played clearing the field.
All right, then.
We see a set card for each player, followed by a pass, followed by another set card and a pass from Hill. It looks like they've run out of monsters. We'll see who comes up with something first. See whether or not the Dianaias are in. Call of the Haunted comes down on Bird's side.
Making amazing use of that Myrmilio.
Yep. Or he would be if Wiretap wasn't shutting it down.
Yeah.
You know, wiretapping's a crime in the United States.
Is it?
Most of the time, you need a warrant to do it. Only law enforcement gets to do it.
I'm from Canada. We're allowed to wiretap whoever we want.
Makes sense, though, that it's a law enforcement thing, since it's a card from Officer Trudge of Sector Security and 5Ds.
Yeah. Almost inarguably... Well, no. I guess his best card to be the one that just returned on the most recent FNL list coming Monday, Yugioh Guardian.
I'm excited for Yugioh Guardian.
Me
I
too.
think a lot of people are. There's another round of Call of the Haunted. How many Call of the Haunteds has he played here?
All of them.
Oh, that's right. He's got 2, but one of them went back into the deck thanks to the wiretap. And he's drawn it again. And you know what else got wiretapped? Fiendish Chain. And you know what else is back on the field again?
Fiendish Chain.
It's just going to be one of those duels, isn't it? For every card that goes back in the deck, it just comes right back out.
It's a dramatic departure from the first two games. Like, not a lot of real aggression or action happening, but certainly not for lack of trying. It's just the sheer blow-for-blow matchup of these trap lineups, which, like you said earlier, are exceedingly similar. I mean, this can happen.
I think we've seen nearly all the wiretaps, though. So from here on out, those traps are going to stick. There's a 2-to-1. I think it was 2-to-1 in terms of wiretaps. And we're kind of at an impasse here. Both players have one monster, one face-up speller trap, and 4 face-down ones. Nobody's going to be playing any spells unless they're already on the field. And no one seems to want to do much of anything. Myrmilio still locked down on Fiendish Chain. Being tributed for a face-down monster.
Bird, again, making those very uncommon tribute plays.
I'm thinking that's the one copy of Begaltech, since it's the one with the defense points.
Yeah.
Oh, it's another Myrmilio. This time is getting Solemn Warninged.
Which does work against trap tricks.
But not if the last wiretap is there. That's both of them out of Bird now. And I believe we've seen both of Hills as well.
Yeah, a lot of wiretap action here for people that are only playing 2.
So no wiretaps left for either player.
And of course, neither duelist is likely to know that.
All right, Acid
Again,
Trapple.
pulling that Acid Trapple, yeah.
Now that, if it resolves, could really be a turning point in this one.
And it's going to, because like we said, those wiretaps are gone.
One thing could stop it, though.
Just taking the monster before it becomes relevant.
That's the one. So let's see if Bird feels like showing us what it is. He does. It's a Geargia Accelerator, and it's being taken as Xyz material to summon. After consultation with the face-down spell trap cards, it's being taken as Xyz material to summon. Lavalval Chain. That's an interesting choice. I wonder if perhaps he's going to try to set up, well, if he was going to try to set up a play with Dionaya, since he had the Myrmilos around. But Bottomless Trapple is going to put a quick stop to that.
We haven't seen a morale talk from him yet this duel, correct? Maybe he has... How many calls is he running?
He's running 2 calls, and he played 1 twice.
So he could still have a call, so maybe he was looking for like a morale talk call play? No. I have a feeling we're not going to find it.
I mean, he's played both Call of the Haunteds, including one of them twice.
Oh, okay. My
I
mistake.
think he's out.
Gotcha.
And now they are trying to decide what to do with that Fiendish Chain. It was, I believe, attached to the Myrmilio that was stuck before, that was tributed for the face-down monster. But the monster wasn't destroyed, it was tributed, and so they come to the conclusion
Still there.
that it'll be there.
Yeah.
The chain
Unlike
will
Lavalval
not.
Chain, which is not there, yeah.
Will not be joining us for the remainder of this match. Oh, it is Beagle
Was the
Talk.
Beagle Talk. Good call.
And he's just going to go for it. So you know what?
You're probably not going to do anything
You're
to
not
this,
gonna
so
have
I'll
any
hit you with
monsters.
it.
I'm
Whack.
not going to have any monsters. Let's just fight with whatever we got.
Really not many other options for an on-field Beagle Talk anyways to get value out of it. Might as well. Or could be baiting out another attack.
Oh, that could be nasty if he's got the Moral Talk.
If he's got Moral Talk
double
and leverage
Cyclone down.
into a pair of
Wow.
attacks and then a rank 5, yeah.
Or that could all be unnecessary if Clayton Hill just hasn't got anything to defend himself with. He's trying not to look particularly concerned about it, but you can kind of tell. Galtok attacks.
Wow.
And Hill's forced to use a dimensional prison on it.
Forces out a prison off of Beagletalk.
That kind of gives you an idea of what else is back there.
Yeah.
It's not a whole lot. Wonder if he's brought in... I mean, the rivalries don't help if they've only got one thing. But that
Gear is what he
does.
needed to see, because he
What he
needs to get some action going without having to set anything and hitting that acid trap hole. You know when that'll be a lot tougher to do? Monday.
Well, it's great. He's got some free Geargianos out there.
Yeah.
But he still has to get them past the wall. You know, you gotta wonder if maybe he'll take to the battle phase first and get in any damage he can on Bird, since he's been giving him all those life points off Upstart Goblin.
Well, I mean, Bird was telegraphing a summon stop heavy back row earlier, so I don't know if this Geargiant's going to go through.
It's not. Black
Yeah,
Horn of Heaven
there's the
shuts
horn.
it down.
Precisely.
But the last wiretap
The
from
last
Hill
wiretap, okay.
puts a stop to that. So we have Gear Gigant X. But there's always the chance for another essential summon stop in the form of Traptrix Trap Hole Nightmare. He very wisely chooses to attack first, but Bird has the Sanctum to bring back, or rather to bring out, Artifact Moraltalk from his deck. No wiretaps left here. But on the summon, Traptrix Trap Hole Nightmare takes out Moraltalk, negating its ability.
Yeah. That seemed very, very, very conscious on Clayton Hill's behalf.
And honestly, Bird knew that was there because he tried to use it on the Traptrix monster earlier.
He saw it off the reveal. Maybe he didn't
So
see it.
perhaps-
Maybe just we saw it.
Yeah, could be just we saw it, or it could be that he has another plan.
Interesting.
Bird makes the attack and plays around an opposing Traptrix Trap Hole Nightmare by not activating the effect of the Gigant. Very smart at this point. And you know what? You might not even need the searches. You might just have to have the biggest monster on the field and keep it there. Brandon Bird walls up with a couple more face-down cards. And now that the Gigant is no longer in danger of being hit by Traptrix Trap Hole Nightmare, Clayton Hill activates his ability and retrieves Geargi Arsenal from the deck.
It's interesting because it was that ability to play around Traptrix Trap Hole Nightmare that's kept it out of recent events just over the past few weeks. People stopped falling for it. They started doing exactly what Clayton Hill just did. But it's back with a vengeance now as a 2 of in like so many of the top cut decks, Main Event and Dragon Duel. And surprise, the exact same trick that let people play around it 6 weeks ago still works now.
Maybe they're under the impression that some of the decks like Lightsworn actually cannot physically play around it because that would involve leaving Judgment Dragon on the field. And, well, actually, yeah, no, it is impossible to play around with Judgment Dragon unless you go straight into an Xyz summon with multiples. Because Judgment Dragon has to activate in the end phase. So even if you skip on wiping the board, you still have to get blown up by it. I still wouldn't play it in that case. I think it's the right call right now.
Yeah.
But,
Lila says hi.
Brandon Bird down to 1,800 life points after another hit from the Gigant. And this could be it.
Yeah, there we go.
And
a
it
handshake.
is. Yep, Xyz Universe.
Traptrix Trap Hole Nightmare that Clayton Hill played around perfectly.